Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a plunge, you could say, into a real classic, Jules Verne's Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Absolutely, a foundational text.
We've got a recent review of this, 1864 novel. It's our source material.
Okay.
And our mission here is to really unpack how this book, this piece of early science fiction, still grabs us, how it mixes that scientific wonder with just pure adventure.
Yeah, it's a potent mix. And the review really starts with Professor Otto Lidenbrock. He's kind of the key, isn't he?
The driving force.
Totally. Eccentric, obsessive, a German scientist who finds this old coded manuscript.
Okay.
And it supposedly reveals a path, a secret passage, right down to the Earth's core.
Wow, straight away that's a hook.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And his reaction isn't doubt, it's, the review calls it a manic drive. He has to go.
Right, so he just packs his bags.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
He ropes in his nephew, Axel, who's, let's say, less enthusiastic.
Understandable, maybe.
Definitely the voice of reason, or maybe fear. And they get Hans, their Icelandic guide. Very quiet, very capable.
And the entry point is a volcano.
A dormant one in Iceland, yeah. That's where the journey begins.
So, okay, you've got the setup, the characters seem great, but the journey itself, the review must have talked about those, fantastical bits.
Oh, absolutely. That's where Verne just lets loose, but in a structured way, The review pointed out his detailed descriptions.
Like what?
Things like forests of giant glowing mushrooms, underground seas with actual storms.
Whoa.
Yeah, and encounters with prehistoric creatures, things thought long extinct, huge caverns. It's this amazing blend of, the impossible described very plausibly.
Plausibly for the time, I guess.
Right. He's using what was known or theorized back then. Speculative science, basically.
That's the term he used, speculative science. And the review mentioned he used then contemporary geology and paleontology. How did that actually work in the text? Did it feel like a lecture?
Sometimes maybe a little. But the review argues it's part of the charm. Verne would actually describe rock layers, fossils they found. So it becomes this journey of discovery, not just adventure. You're learning with them almost.
Even though the core idea of the Hollow Earth.
Oh, completely debunked now, of course. But the review nails it. I think the book still has this amazing what-if feeling.
Right.
And maybe that comes from Verne's sheer belief in science itself. The process of exploring and finding out, even if the findings are, fiction.
That's a great point. It makes you appreciate how far actual geology has come by seeing these imaginative leaps.
Exactly.
So beyond the science and the spectacle, what about the people? The review must have touched on the dynamic between Lidenbrock, Axel, and Hans.
Yeah, hugely important. The review highlights the contrast between Lidenbrock, all frantic energy and science, and Axel, who's frankly scared, skeptical, often hungry.
Relatable.
Very relatable. It adds humor and tension. Axel keeps it grounded in, human feelings.
Yeah,
Hans is just solid, the quiet, dependable one. Often saves the day without a word. The review called him the emotional anchor, which feels right. So it's not just about finding the center of the earth. He becomes this story about them, about courage, facing the unknown, resilience.
It really sounds like a deeply human story wrapped in this wild sci-fi concept.
That's a good way to put it.
Now, the review did mention, didn't it, that some parts get heavy on the scientific explanations, maybe slow for some readers today.
It did mention that, yeah. Some sections are dense with details.
But the review saw value in that.
Definitely. It argued that's kind of the point with Verne. It shows his commitment to knowledge, to the idea of exploration being tied to learning.
So it wasn't just padding.
No, not at all. It was part of building that world, grounding the fantasy, and honestly championing science to his readers back then. It helped solidify sci-fi as a genre that takes science seriously, even when speculating wildly.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. For you, the listener, what's the big takeaway here? Journey to the Center of the Earth, as this review confirms, it's more than just an old adventure story, right? It's foundational science fiction.
Absolutely. It's thrilling, it's imaginative.
And it really celebrates that spirit of discovery, that scientific curiosity, even if the science itself is a bit dated now.
The storytelling, sense of wonder that absolutely holds up, it still inspires, doesn't it? Still makes you curious about the unknown.
It really does. Which leads to maybe a final thought for you to ponder.
Yeah, this is something the review made me think about too. How can these stories, based on science we now know isn't correct, still feel so powerful? How do they keep inspiring people generations later to explore and maybe even appreciate current science more?